Hello, everyone. Hello, this is Bethany Zell, and I am here today to introduce myself as the owner and primary coach over here at Zellbeing Wellness. And I am here today to welcome you to with Zellbeing. And I just wanted to come on today to share a little bit about what's in store over the next few weeks as we journey through the holidays together and look for ways to maintain our health and wellness as we approach the holidays. Because right now is the time of year where a lot of people derail from their health and wellness goals. And I know I used to be one of those folks. It was very easy to find excuses once the Halloween candy came in the door, and it was easy not to stick to the goals that I had set for myself to maintain my health and wellness goals, and instead just eat and participate in whatever the holidays had in store for me and count on the New Year resolution to set me straight. So I don't know if I'm alone in this, and if I'm the only one who has struggled with the holidays in the past. But after my healthy journey led me to lose over 100 pounds about 5 years ago, I realized that I didn't have to live this way anymore. I didn't have to abandon all of my health and wellness goals just because sweets and other treats were coming in the door in huge overflow. So, just to start, I want to share a little bit about me. I'm Bethany Zell. I've struggled with weight my entire life. And after quickly approaching the 300-pound mark back in 2014, I just set about to finally take hold of my health and wellness and not be dictated by my weight. And I lost weight. It was a very slow process, and I did it in a very different way than I had ever tried before. I had always tried a complete overhaul approach to weight loss, basically changing every single thing in my life all at once, which inevitably failed because for me, when I added too many changes at once, it just wasn't sustainable. And so when I pulled back and said, okay, what's one thing I can do? And I worked on that one thing and made it a habit, and then I added on other healthy habits. They became habits, and so on and so forth. It was then that I was able to be successful in this struggle that I've dealt with my whole life. So what I'm hoping to do in the new year is launch a wellness community group that would be a paid subscription membership. Each month we'll focus on one health or wellness topic, and we'll really dive deep. There'll be some live videos. There'll be a workshop that you can attend or get a recording for after the fact that will dive deep on that topic for the month and help us all to focus on our health and wellness goals. In addition, you'll be getting some new recipes every month to help you eat clean and stick to a healthy way of life and way of eating. That recipe guide will also include a shopping list, and there will also be in the group in the new year, there will be weekly menus that you can follow if you want that will incorporate those recipes that you get for free for being a member of the group. But for right now, our focus for the next, I don't know, 6.5 weeks until the end of December is being healthy through the holidays. And I'm going to be delivering all the content that I would plan to deliver in that private group right here on this page for the next 6.5 weeks until the end of this year, to give you guys a sneak peek of the great content, the great tools, the great resources, the encouragement and uplifting and motivation that will be in that community group. And I want you guys to see it first and see it firsthand so you can know the value of what I'm inviting you to. So for the next 6 weeks, our topic of focus is going to be those healthy holidays. Each week, I'm going to be going live here on this page to share a topic of focus for that week in relation to our bigger topic, the healthy holidays. And I'll be sharing informative posts all throughout this time. Every single day, there will be a post. There'll be recipes shared. There will be blog posts that dive a little bit deeper that are shared, and there's actually one already out there for today. And in December 9th, I'll be offering that one monthly workshop that will be included in the monthly membership in the new year. But everyone here on this page will be invited to attend that workshop, and they can attend it live in person on Zoom, or they can watch the recording afterward. And so that'll be December 9th of this month. And in general, Mondays are going to be the day where I would go live in the mornings, probably to kind of set the tone for the week of what we're looking at. There's going to be plenty of action steps and actions you can take, small baby step actions, because that's what I'm all about. Baby steps. I'm not about complete and utter upheaval and change all at once, because we all know that's not very sustainable. So, so I hope that you'll join us and stay tuned for Healthy Through the Holidays in anticipation of other health and wellness topics to come. And I would really love to hear your feedback on topics that are important to you, that matter most, and that I can expound on for you and help you get closer to your health and wellness goals. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, this month's focus with the Healthy on the Holidays is including the recipe, and the shopping list is included already, and it's out there on this page in my email subscription. So if you subscribe for the emails, you're going to have immediate access. It's going to be delivered to your inbox. The list of, I want to say it's like 25 to 30 recipes, brand new clean eating recipes that you can try and you can incorporate and work them into your holidays, to kind of balance things out and help you maintain some of your health and wellness goals as we move through this time together. So if you haven't already gotten it, check it out. It's through the email subscription this month, but in future months in the group, you'll get it in your email at the beginning of the month. You'll get your recipes, and you'll get the very first week of menu plans, and then we'll add on to them. And so I'll be sharing the weekly menu plans as we move through this time. I'm going to start it next week with the weeks, because I only have 4 weeks that revolve around these current recipes, but grab your recipes through the subscribe link. And so for this week, the foundation really of my whole wellness journey began with awareness. I needed to know what I was doing currently. Where was I at? I mean, I knew where I was at on the scale, but it didn't register for me as far as emotions and the different things that I had tied to food, things that I had associated to food that kept me stuck there in that place. And so it took me being aware and mindful of what was happening to really be able to grab hold of it so that I could make those changes. Because if you just come in blindly and you don't really know what's happening, and sometimes, I mean, we know, obviously we know what we're eating, we know what's happening, but we kind of put the blinders on. We don't really want to be aware of all the snacks that we're eating. We don't really want to be told about the amount of calories in our foods. And for some people, me in particular, tracking your food can feel like a full-time job. And when you're on a diet, you always have to track your food. And so it feels like you're living and revolving every thought, every waking moment around food. What am I eating? Write it down. What am I going to eat? Prep it. What am I planning to eat? I've got to shop for it. So much focus on food that it was hard to get away from the addiction that was pulling me into a negative relationship with food. And so, as a starting point, we need to know, so to speak, the status quo of our relationships with food. And so, for a short time, I'm going to ask that you track, write it down, write down every morsel that goes in your mouth without changing anything. Because if you're only writing things down that you want to have look good on paper, it's not helping you. You need to write down the reality. So the next few days, I want you to write down every morsel that goes in your mouth without changing anything, so that in a couple days you can look back. If you can get a whole week with just writing it down and not making any changes, fantastic. But look at the time of day that you're eating, look at the quantities that you're eating, and not having to weigh and measure every single thing, but write as much information as you can about whatever it is that you're consuming. If you were stressed out, if you were upset and you got a terrible phone call, or you're overwhelmed at work and you just felt like having ice cream at 3 o'clock on an afternoon, write it all down. There's no guilt, there's no shame. It's just information for you so that you can start this journey of regaining the hold over your health and wellness goals. If you need a food tracker, there is one available for download in the blog that I posted earlier today. And I'm going to put the links in this live video for you to access them a little more easily. But all the links that you need to get started are already out here and available for you. But I want you to really be identifying why you're eating and if you're truly hungry. And there's some great information on that in the blog today. Knowing the difference between that physical or emotional hunger, and whether what you're feeling is tied to something that's stressed you out and made you crave something that you really don't need to be eating, or whether or not it's legitimate physical hunger that will only be satisfied with food. And there are ways to know the difference. So as soon as we begin to challenge each time that we want to eat against those standards and say, okay, am I really hungry or is this emotional? When we start to do that on a regular basis, it becomes a habit, but then you become more aware and you can make more informed decisions about what's going in. And so I'm challenging you this week to track your food. And there's another challenge mentioned in the blog that I will bring up here. And those of you who have worked with me before know that this is one of the ways I always start with my clients and the people who attend my programs is, if all you had to eat was one specific healthy food, would you still eat? You need to ask yourself that question and identify what that one healthy food for you could be. It should be something that you can't really overdo it on. And it should be something that's pretty healthy. You don't want to make that food something that you could binge on or overdo it with. For me, that food is carrots. I like carrots, but I've never, ever in my life craved a carrot. I've never been like, ooh, the only thing that will satisfy me at this moment are carrots. But I like them. And so it's not a struggle for me to eat them if I'm truly physically hungry. So identify that one food this week of what you could offer yourself, and you don't necessarily have to have it on hand or carry it with you in your purse or have it around at all times, but sometimes simply just asking that question, like when you're craving those ridiculous out of context foods, in those moments, if you just say to yourself, if all I had to eat were carrots right now, would I still be craving this way? Would I still feel this strong desire to go out in a snowstorm and purchase a pack of M&Ms? If you can ask that question, sometimes you can just squash those cravings right away, because you can then see it for what it is. It's emotional hunger. It's not really tied to physical hunger. And if it is physical hunger and you would be satisfied with eating whatever your food is, carrots for me, then serve yourself that. Make that healthy choice in that moment. So all that today is on the blog, the chart of the difference between your emotional hunger and your physical hunger. It's on the blog. Also, at the very end of the blog, you can print out a tracker that you can use to track your food for the week, so that you can then look at it all in one big picture and see where you struggle. And maybe you know where it is. Maybe you know the time of day that's the hardest for you. For me, that was always in the evenings, and I was able, after several months of struggling, to put the kibosh on that nighttime eating. So I've given myself kind of a curfew for when I eat, but we'll talk about more of that as we move through this time in the holidays together. And I just really want to welcome you and say thanks for following me. And I hope that you'll share this information. It's great. And it's not the time of year that we should be abandoning our health and wellness goals. You can continue to lose weight, maintain your health goals. This is not all necessarily about weight loss or being skinny. This is about, maintaining your health and wellness so that you can live your best life. And so that's what I try and do. I try and work with folks to identify what are the things that are most important in your life, and what can you do to foster and nourish and engage those desires and those passions that you have and the goals that you have for those topics. So I hope you're excited. I'm really excited to be sharing this time with you. It's kind of different for me being on my own doing this program, as opposed to in the public health space where I've been for the last 10 years. And so those of you who have followed me through the Healthy You program at Cary Medical Center, you may already be familiar with some of my baby steps, but this is going to be a whole new way of approaching them together, and I hope that you'll stay tuned. So look for the blog and look for the links, and we will talk soon. Have a great day.